What's good, y'all? What up, Eli? What's good, gang? How we doing? I'm doing great, man. How you doing? How you doing, man? How's everybody doing out there, man? What's up? What's up, baby? What's up? Oh man, we're continuing. We're going right along, man. It's that middle of the year. We got some teams positioning to get into the playoffs. You got some teams trying to gain home court advantage in the playoffs, and other teams are trying to figure it out. We're just in that time of the year, man, and we'll figure it out together, man. I hope everybody's doing good. We'll get started in just a second. Yup. Hey. All right, man. All right. All right, baby, we gonna get started now. Yes, sir. Oh, ain't it so beautiful? Ain't it so beautiful, man? Welcome back to another episode of the Jayson Estrera podcast, where we talk about basketball as accurate as possible. Now, like we were just saying, we got quite a bit to talk about today. I mean, we got development in Dallas that we gotta get into. We got to talk about the Lakers and LeBron, how he's been playing at 41 years old. It's really impressive, honestly. But more importantly, what does it mean for him and the Lakers, right? And Luka and company, which, those two topics pretty much go hand in hand, right? When you're talking about Luka, the Lakers, Anthony Davis, and the Mavericks. So we're going to get into that in just a little bit. I think this is probably a great place to start right here. So on Monday night, where's this? Monday night. Let me get to this. Let me pull this game up really quickly. Here it is. So Monday night, we saw the Charlotte Hornets take on the Los Angeles Clippers, where the Clippers got the victory. James Harden got 32 points. Kawhi Leonard had 35. But probably bigger news than just that is James Harden passing Shaq in the all-time scoring list. So let's take a look at this.
Charlotte retains it. Now you're able to exploit that, and Ball as good a playmaker as any in the league. And speaking of which, James probably is like, okay, finally.
Ninth all time.
16 for Harden. Clippers back out in front by 2. Ball, the backpedal 3 to retaliate.
Trying to respond.
By the way, that 3 puts the Beard ahead of the big Aristotle, Shaquille O'Neal, and now the 9th all-time leading scorer.
Now, the quick pick and roll, that's Chris Dunn. So guard to guard. Cleared enough runway for James to get there. Young fellas over there.
9th all-time on the scoring list. So if we take a look at the updated list that we have, LeBron, Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe, Michael Jordan, Dirk, Kevin Durant, Wilt Chamberlain, and then James Harden. I mean, that's a list to be on. That's some company to have. For a lot of criticism that James Harden gets, I do think he deserves a lot of credit. you know, a lot of people thought that he wouldn't be able to mold his game next to a Joel Embiid. And, you know, whether you were watching or paying attention really at the time or not, that's what they asked of him. And he almost made a point to say, okay, I could do exactly what you asked me for. I'm not going to do more, even though doing more would have probably had a lot, you know, some more success for that team. He's been in a lot of different situations, but really the Rockets era James Harden was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So ninth all time, 28,614 total career points for James Harden. Good for ninth on the list. Next is Wilt Chamberlain, and he's a good 3,000 off. Let's take a look at how many points. I don't think he's. Let's see how many points he's been getting these last couple of years, because the 3,000 total points in a season, those are, let's see, totals. See, even when he was averaging 2018-19, when he averaged 36 a game, he scored 28,000 points. So those days are pretty much over. He's at 1,800 last season. The year before that, 1,100, 1,200 the season before that. So if he gets 2 more seasons, 1,500 a season, he can potentially get to Wilt Chamberlain. But that really, you know, depends on situations and whatnot. But shout out to James Harden, man. Shout out to James Harden. Now, another story, and it really is, in my opinion, big news, because Kawhi Leonard, who's been nursing an ankle injury, has played the last 3 games, even though he's been questionable for each of those games. Had 35 in this game, shot 57.9% from the field, 55.6 from 3. Just a really, really good, efficient game. Questionable for tonight's game, but a lot of people are saying that he might play. Who knows? This version of Kawhi Leonard is a top player in the NBA. And you know, there's a lot of conspiracies that we could all come up with, whether it's the Spurs or whether it's the Kawhi camp, or you know, now we have this whole Clippers situation, and you know, when he needs to play, he'll play, but he seems to have his own rules. And you know, regardless of what that reason is, when he plays and he's healthy, Kawhi Leonard is one of the best players in the world. It's really crazy how good this guy is, if I'm being honest with you. You know, like look at this, man. Like, this is nuts.
Now you don't have any words for me. Start laughing.
Leonard goes to work on the rookie, fades, puts it up.
I mean, talk about gravity. Gravity drew 3 defenders right here. Turned over. 4 defenders over here. And still hit the shot.
Kawhi
has really been hitting the 3 ball at a really good clip. Yeah, man, this guy Kawhi has just been, when he plays,
Leonard,
he's really good, and he's done a really good job of mastering that mid-range and being efficient, a la Kevin Durant. You know, it really reminds me of Kevin Durant, the way he's so efficient in the mid range. It really feels like he's kind of mastered that part of the game. It really does, and he's strong. He's got size. A lot of players should watch and study Kawhi Leonard. He's another player where I don't think he's as explosive as he once was, and if I'm being honest, is despite having some really great dunks, he doesn't have this unbelievable jumping ability. So he's another one on that list of, a player that really methodical, slow, could look slow at times, but just getting to his spots, making his moves, being comfortable, being confident. He's all of that, man. He's all of that. What's good, Elijah? Goof nugget. Goof nugget. Goof nugget is crazy. What even is that? What even is that? So I mean, I guess here's the question moving forward for the Clippers is, do you guys think that Kawhi Leonard will be healthy for the remainder of the season? Now, we can take a look right here at the standings and where the Clippers are sitting right now. They are currently 11th at 16-23. Yeah, let's take a look at this. What is this? So they're 16-23. 17 games out of first, but only a game out of 10th, 2 games out of 9th, and they're 5 games out of 8th, which is the Golden State Warriors. Now, how high up can they go? Will Phoenix be able to continue their play this year? Golden State's been really shaky. Portland, I think, is one of those teams where on any given night they could be, they could surprise you. I think Splitter's done a really great job of coaching that team. But they got some shooters on that team, man. They got some shooters on that team for sure. Memphis seems to be spiraling. So a game out of 10th and you're in the play-in tournament. The Clippers look like they're going to have a chance to make it to the playoffs. But again, kind of like what we saw with the Warriors last year, they spent a lot of energy just to get themselves in the playoffs. And Steph Curry, who for the most part has been healthy, aside from his early ankle injuries, he was going down with some injuries. Jimmy Butler had gone down. They were dealing with a lot of that stuff by the end of last season. And when you look at the LA Clippers, Kawhi Leonard is probably exhibit A when it comes to dealing with injuries and being hurt. So the effort that they got to make just to get in the playoffs, even if he's playing at his best, I think that opens up the opportunity for more injuries or to just be completely gassed out. So what do you guys think about that, man? I don't know shit, not this guy. I know you're not you're not talking. Mr. Sneezy McGee. What y'all on about, man? What y'all on about? What you guys think, man? What you guys think? How high up do you guys think the LA Clippers could rise? I mean, they've been what is it? They're 8-2 in their last 10. The only team that's better there isn't one. They're tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder. 8-2 in their last 10. So they've really been on a hot streak. But again, just because you get there, you might have spent too much energy from coming back. The same way it happens in a game. Right, you'll see a lot of teams, and you're like, "How did they not come back? They were on fire. They're tired." The Ticklesaurus doesn't concern himself with lesser dummies, bro. Yo, what this guy is on one today. I could already tell. I could already tell this guy is on one today. What is this? No, the Clippers are one of those teams that need to be sold for me to even consider them relevant. They are an unserious franchise. Well, I mean, no, I don't think anyone's saying that they'd win a championship. I think it would just be interesting how they could shake up this now a top 10 playoff picture. Number one, but number two, there's always that what if, right? I think that Kawhi run has a lot of people saying what if, especially when it comes to Kawhi, and when he has stretches like he's having the last month or so. It really, for someone that's accomplished so much, he's someone that makes you say what if. Like, this guy would have actually been a top 15, top 10 player of all time had his career been free of injuries. And it's crazy that he's still a two-time champ, right? A two-time champ, a two times finals MVP, and a defensive player of the year, like 2 defensive player of the years. It's impressive. It really is impressive. But questionable for tonight's game. Let's see if there is an update on that. Okay, so reports saying that he will play tonight. So, amen. It's definitely different from what we've seen as of late. I don't know if the planted trees, the tree company, got anything to do with him playing. Then I wish they would have got involved way sooner in his career, because we could have had some unbelievable Kawhi Leonard seasons, man. Some of the things we're seeing out of some of these other players, like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think, Kawhi had that potential. He really did have that potential. Where are we getting into right here? Let's get into this. And then we'll get into our Dallas Mavericks topic. Let's pull this up. All right, man. All right. So last night we had, what is this? The fourth meeting between these two teams, right? The fourth, the fifth meeting, something like that. But it was big news that the San Antonio Spurs had taken 3 consecutive games off of the reigning, defending world champion Oklahoma City Thunder and reigning MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It was really, really big news, to see this team lose 3 times to one team. And I guess the addition to that part is, there it is. The addition to that part is, this is the team that's second to them in standings, right? So I won't say that it's not really warranted, because, if we're being honest, losing 3 times to the second seeded team when you're the first seeded team, it does logically say that there should be at least some concern there, right? And then when you add all of the other aspects of it, right, which is, this is a young Spurs team. They're very physical on defense, right? They're extremely physical on defense. They have a unicorn player in Victor Wembanyama, who, I mean, we'll just call it what it is, right? He's beaten this matchup. This matchup that they have between Chet Holmgren and Wemby, he's gotten the better of this matchup more than he hasn't. And so, yeah, he is a unicorn. He is a freak because, you know, the person that you're supposed to have in that role isn't matching him the way you would like. So I do think that they absolutely pose some issues. But at the same time, the more I think about these two teams facing in a 7-game series, the more I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder will beat these guys, if I'm being honest. I think the guards won't be able to do what they've done. De'Aaron Fox is someone that I believe in. I think he will be fine in this matchup. But you're relying is wait, what? It's so sweet. God bless her and the rest of the family. What are you talking about, Elijah? But yeah, when you're just talking about a 7-game series, I just don't expect I would have to see that to believe it, right? If you're telling me Castle is going to perform the way they need him to, not just defensively and what he's done with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but offensively, right? You know, he's going to have to be productive on offense, and to rely on that. Dylan Harper's a rookie. I think a lot of those things in the playoffs are big question marks. And if that's what you're going to rely on, if you are the San Antonio Spurs against a team that just won a championship, Jalen Williams was the second best player on that team, had 40 in the NBA Finals, was defense and offense doing what he's doing, you know, in the playoffs. And so when it comes to that matchup, we've seen what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's been able to do. Even when the games get more physical, the court shrinks. We've seen that in the playoffs already versus the, you know, what we've seen or haven't seen from the San Antonio Spurs. The other part in that is Wemby has to be healthy. You know, I feel like they haven't brought that up really. I know he's really young. I know it's not something that anyone wants to point out, but this guy has had a couple of injuries in the last 2 years, and injuries that have taken him out for a while. At the end of the season at that. So, one, we need to see him be able to play 82 games, which he hasn't been able to do. Then we're expecting him to play more in more intense, more competitive games, which are the playoffs. And so I think you put all of that together. If these guys are able to match up in the playoffs, I'm not going to lie to you. I give the Spurs a game, maybe 2. And you know, I think that would go against all the numbers that we've seen through these regular season games. But you got to think, last night they didn't have Isaiah Hartenstein. Lou Dort didn't play. And they absolutely blew these guys out the water. And, you know, when we look at the first half, It was 52-55 Oklahoma City. That third quarter, man. That third quarter. Man, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was just different in that third quarter. He was chirping. He was hitting shots all over the place. He killed him that third quarter. And that's something that I think they could repeat more often than what we've seen in the 3 games prior to. So what do you guys think, man? How many games do you think the Spurs can win in a 7-game series against the Oklahoma City Thunder? I will say the blood of things seemed like the Spurs catching something early and taking very good care of him. However, he does need to play more minutes and games. Him playing down low will help a lot. Your body at 7 foot is not meant to be a guard and outmaneuver actual guards. Look at Joel and AD. I will say the way the Spurs started, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I could find it. I mean, this was filthy. I mean, this was filthy right here.
And now here we go. The matchup we've been looking forward to has been Wembanyama against Holmgren. A lot of history between the two. Wemby goes right to Victor Wembanyama.
You know, there was another scenario later on where I saw him put a body on. I think it was this.
He's got a
Yeah, I saw him really put a body on Jalen Williams, and that's what you got to do. You got to punish these guys. Look, getting right into him, right? Look at the space he's able to create, right? And granted, it's not necessarily for him, and obviously look at the size difference. But if other teams are gonna do this to you and try to put a smaller player on you because Wemby is quick, right? You can't allow them to do that. You got to punish these guys. Look at how much space he's able to create. And then there was another fadeaway that he had. Let me see if I could find that one. Was it this? I think it was this.
On a great team like this, the way that AJ Mitchell does off the bench. Wembanyama is a force right now with the ball.
I love the patience, right? I love the patience. It was crowded.
Off the bench.
Get into an open spot. Turn. As you're squaring up, like he already knows he can rise above anybody, right? But to be patient,
right now with the
get a shoulder in his chest.
Ball.
Square up.
Williams stayed with him.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So between that duck in that we saw, right, when he just ran straight to the rim, and shots like this, which I'll be honest, he's been doing more of. I think it can make him really impactful and hopefully save him from some injuries, because those are great signs. The thing now is to be able to do it consistently, right? To trust the work that you put in. We talked about this with Anthony Edwards. You can work on something all summer long, but a lot of players revert to what they're comfortable with, right? A lot of players do that. Trusting what you do in these actual games is a whole nother battle in itself. So we got to give Wemby some time, and it looks like he is implementing it little by little. That was supposed to be Amani. What's YPSI versus the NBA? What is that? This is what I've been screaming for Wemby to do more of. Stop that perimeter game bullshit, man. again, I think it really is just a healthy. You just need a healthy balance, right? You just need a healthy balance if you're the Spurs. You don't want to take away Wemby's. You don't want to take away Wemby's ability to shoot the basketball, right? Because the other aspect in this strategically, right, is the other aspect in it strategically is if you pull Wemby away from the rim and he takes the shot blocker away from the rim, then that gives your guards like a De'Aaron Fox, like a Castle, like a Dylan Harper, that gives those guys a free run at the basket. So you don't, you know, again, you have to be able to mix these things up. You have to be able to use everything that you have. But I do agree with you guys that he can straight to the perimeter a little too much at times, and you know, guys settle. It's just a part of the game. You just want them to settle less than, you know, less, and take good shots always. Ypsilanti, Michigan. Where we and Amani from? It's the city of Amani, and I in Eli State. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I remember early clips of Amani, man. He was supposed to be nasty. I remember early clips of Amani. Let me see here. Let me see if there's any. Do we have anything else from this game? What do you guys think? Exactly what Wemby size. Why is he settling? He could be abusing guys like that all game. Well, because here's the two-parter, right? Here's the two-parter. Here, let me pull up all of Wemby's shot attempts this game. Let's pull up misses. Let me find, because there was here. I still got hoping, bro. Same fam. You know, I showed some examples of Wemby being strong and you know, really taking advantage with his size, and then you have other examples like this where, you know, you're able to bump him into bad shots, and I think that's why, you know, someone like him at times can settle.
Looking to get it to Wembanyama. They do with 5 on the clock. Face up on Williams. Wemby has to put up an awkward jumper. No. Wemby.
And yeah, maybe he settled right there, right? Let's try to see what he could have done differently right here.
Looking to get it to Wembanyama. They do with 5. See if
this will be number one for me, right? You gotta empty out his strong side corner, in my opinion. You with Wemby's size, right? Think about his steps alone. If he were gonna do a pull up, right? I think this would have been much more possible if he were able to get into a one dribble, get his shoulder in, and then pull up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being there really makes this awkward. So, really, rather than... But also, look at this, right? Look at this. He started off here, and he's getting pushed out by Jalen Williams. And, you know, I think he could do a better job of fighting for that position. But also, I think strength is a weakness at this point for him. And it's not a strength. No pun intended. So we're watching this. I think if he would have cleared, he would have been able to get a rip through, one dribble pull up, get into Jay Williams' chest. And he would have been able to rise up. Instead, he had to take this awkward shot. And he missed it. So again, I think, that's one of the reasons that he will sometimes settle. They, when they're able to space him out, again, when they put him at the 4, or not, sorry, not at the 4, but at the free throw line, and he's able to work, it allows a little bit more room for him. He misses this shot.
Playing the 5th fewest clutch.
I like this right here. Keeping the ball high. Knowing defenders could be trying to rip that. And if you're Wemby, really, you just got to hit this shot. He just missed it, but you got to hit this shot. And that's really what this comes down to right here. He's got to hit that shot. And that's just something he's got to work on. The thing I'm noticing right now, when he steps through here, you see where his feet end up, right? You see where his feet end up right here. So when your feet ends up right there, that means you still have to twist your whole body and shoot across it. So one workaround to that would be if he can get his foot and he could pivot his foot more and try to get this foot more squared. It'll give him a little bit more, it'll make the shot a little bit more comfortable for him. Right, Jalen Williams doing a good job of staying tall and just contesting. But if you're Wemby, you just got to hit that shot. You just got to be able to hit that shot. Even right here, he just looks. Typically when guys are fading away, you see them taking up a little bit more space, and that was just off the steps. But look at where he ended up. He started over here, and he's able to end up way over here. So. It's a lot of little things, and I think again he's working on these things. Clearly, we're seeing how much a player can improve year to year, like Anthony Edwards has shown. So, you know what I'm saying? Same fam. End the stream. Let me and Elijah ask you something. We drafted all-time teams against each other and need a third-party judge to say who would win. Name dropping is crazy. You call it homies bias. Also meaning to practice power dribbles. I know it's saying this on the couch. But it seems like he has a habit of picking up earlier. He could take another power dribble these situations to be better manipulating guys. If I had a theory why he picks up earlier, it's probably just because of size. That he just brings the ball up. You don't want to give yourself a tight window if you're him, right? It just gives the opportunity to get the ball stolen. And I think with his size, he's always had the ability to just pick the ball up and rise over anybody. And it's just a habit that he's had. Are there some situations? I'm sure he can, but I think honestly, Elijah, if he could just better square himself and build a better base for himself, I think he'll be able to rise up and finish some of these shots a little bit easier than he's done for his career. But that's just my thinking. That's just my thinking going into it. I think he has improved quite a bit though. Randall, Siakam, Kuminga do well, but Wemby is improving. I think his two-step and wingspan are so damn big that that's why he picks up early. Ironically, he can get more comfortable dribbling. He could, but I mean, you got to think also, right? He's so long and tall, and I don't want to use the word frail. He just needs to work on that base. He got them skinny legs. You just got to try to get up under him, pause, and take his legs out. But we're seeing it more. He's using his knees, right? We're seeing more on those pull-ups. There's nothing a defender could really do if you put a knee up, right? Kind of like Dirk Nowitzki. It's not an offensive foul necessarily. Unless you kick at them, but you could use that leg up, that knee to give yourself a little bit of cushion. And at his size, that little bit is all he needs. So I'm seeing him add, these little bits and pieces to his bag for sure. But again, we got to see him play 30 minutes a game, make a playoff run, to really consider this a rivalry. Now, we got to talk about this because it's big news. I mean, it's just big news. We spoke the other day about
this team.
We spoke the other day about Anthony Davis maybe needing surgery. And he was someone that was on the trade market that Dallas was looking to potentially move. And then he ended up now he needs potential surgery. And then there were reports everywhere that he needs potential surgery. Excuse me. This is from Anthony Davis's Twitter account. Y'all better stop listening to all these lies on these apps. Shams reports that surgery is possible, and then he later fixed that. He had updated that. Anthony Davis will not require surgery on his injured hand after a second opinion with a specialist. And so they are renewing trade talks around Davis with multiple interested teams. So let's take a look at the update on this situation right here.
What does AD's future look like with this team?
Malika, for all intents and purposes, meaningful basketball in Dallas for Davis this season is essentially over because of the time he's going to miss with the injury, and also because this is a Mavericks team that's going to be jockeying for lottery positioning in the second half of the season. They're 12th in the Western Conference right now. This is the last year they controlled their first-round pick until 2031. So jockeying will be the big word for the Mavericks second half of the season. But for the business of basketball, let's flip there. I'm told the Mavericks are having renewed trade talks around Davis with multiple interested teams. Two of the foremost teams there, Atlanta and Toronto. But one thing that has been made clear in the last few days from people that I talked to is the cost is most certainly going to be lower for the Mavericks than it was even a month ago when the Mavericks were hedging that Davis would rack up games, would improve his value, and it could go up and up in terms of what they could get. But what has happened now is the groin injury in late December,
right,
and then now this much more serious hand injury. And so the Mavericks have to make a decision. Are we content with potentially expiring contracts, essentially cleaning out our salary books, getting rid of Anthony Davis's contract, maybe getting a draft pick, and then fully rebuilding around Cooper Flag with clean salary books? Or do you hedge again that Anthony Davis's value could be at a good level in the summer? And if not, bring back AD with Kyrie Irving, Cooper Flag, and potentially a high draft pick. These are all conversations the Mavericks are having right now.
So, big news right there because, one, there's a couple moving pieces here, right? So let's sum that up really quickly. On one hand, you have the Dallas Mavericks who, because of the season that they've had, are positioning themselves for a good pick in the draft, right? So even if Anthony Davis were healthy, him playing might ultimately hurt them in the sense of their goal being to get a better draft pick, right? That's one scenario. Two, you have Anthony Davis, who you were hoping that would be able to play well in the last month or so, to raise his value, like Sham said, to get something in return for him. And now they're in these same talks, but the price is lowered because of these injuries, and let's call it what it is. All the previous little injuries that Anthony Davis has racked up. And the part that Shams didn't talk about right there is, where does this leave Kyrie Irving? Because if they do trade Anthony Davis, chances are you're not going to get a win now type of player that you would want if the idea was to win now. And so with a returning Kyrie Irving, Kyrie's not going to want to be in a rebuilding situation, right? He's not going to want to be in that. He didn't work all the way back to rebuild. Klay Thompson, I think that makes it very unattractive. This is not what he came here for. And so now you're talking about potentially rebuilding everything, and I don't know what direction they want to go into. I don't know what type of value these guys have, because you have one coming back from a major injury in Kyrie, and then you have Anthony Davis, who has a history of injuries. It's not a good situation to be in if you are the Dallas Mavericks. Unless I'm a contender, why am I trading for AD? I think it's limited teams in that mix. The man, the myth, the one brow, the one superstar, Anthony Davis. Breaking news. Yeah, right. Let's see this shit. Yeah, so where could he end up? I mean, realistically, and this is the frustrating part, right? If you're getting 100% healthy Anthony Davis, it changes the ball game, right? But the reality of Anthony Davis's career is an injury is gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And as good as he is, as much as I think he could help a lot of basketball teams, the price you gotta pay, to me, it's not worth it. And if you're gonna have to give up anything significant when you are already a team that's competitive and are close, that makes it really, really rough in my opinion. But on paper, healthy AD, healthy Kyrie, Cooper Flag up and coming as your third option essentially with that with that duo. They could be good, but I still don't see it. Realistically, we've never seen Anthony Davis as the one lead a team to a championship. We haven't seen the same thing out of Kyrie Irving, even though he's been incredible and is, to me, one of the greatest players we've ever seen. But in terms of being the lead guy, being numero uno, to lead a team to a championship, neither of those guys have been that. And realistically, they might have someone like that in Cooper Flag. This guy, I was a little bit critical of him running the point guard earlier on this season, but I really think that it's done something to his game that he wouldn't have been able to unlock otherwise. And so, whatever happens to his career, I think he's going to have Jason Kidd to thank, because him forcing him in that situation, I think, has forced his game to grow in ways that it wouldn't have grown otherwise. Someone else would have handled him completely differently. But I genuinely think he could be the point of attack guy. I think he causes a lot of gravity towards him on offense and can do a lot on defense. This guy is a literal do-it-all. And he looks real good, man. He looks real good. Completely agreed. If you're a great team already, why give something up for AD and you aren't a contender? Why get a beat up 32-year-old? And it's rough, right? This guy is legitimately one of the best players we've ever seen. Injuries is just, it's a bitch. Injuries is a bitch. Now, we've addressed, one half of that massive trade that we witnessed all together as a world, between the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers. And LeBron had a massive game. He's been playing really well since he's turned 41. They won last night 141 to 116. LeBron had 31, 9, and 10. Let's see. Luka added in 27, 5 and 12 with 7 turnovers. And 141 points is a lot. Hey, question, everyone. Why are we paying guys so much? We pay guys so much, it just stunts everything. Why not do 1 year, 50 mil, not the multiple years locked in? I get players want it, but why don't the orgs put their foot down? I think it would probably, I mean, that's such a loaded question. It's why I'll put it like this. Some of these really big contracts, everyone isn't warranted, right? And because of the boom in the money that we've had, that the teams got over COVID, because these massive contracts have only been happening recently, right? And I get the money's been going up, but the really, really big contracts, it started with the Rudy Goberts, right? And here's the thing. The teams are the ones, in my opinion, that started this. And now they're the ones backtracking because they're the teams that overpaid a bunch of players, right? We've seen this before, right? There are players that miss out on these big teams. And because the teams want the best of the best. And, you know, the rest of the players in free agency have to get overpaid essentially by some of these lesser teams because they don't have a choice, right? They don't have a choice. They need some sort of marquee player to put fans in seats. And so when you have players that are overpaid, right? Let's say you're making $40 million and you average 20. The next player that's averaging 21 is going to say, whoa. He's getting $40 million. I don't give a fuck about what his situation is. That's what he's getting. I'm scoring 21 a game. I need to get at least 42. Right? And you could miss out on that player, right? You could miss out on that player, but the what ends up happening is a team is going to end up needing somebody because like I said, players put fans in seats. And you know, some of these teams that don't draft well, that don't sign well, they end up kind of fucking up the market by overpaying some of these players. And then you have the other aspect in injuries, right? When you have injuries that maybe pushes someone into an award that maybe they didn't deserve necessarily, it unlocks part of that salary cap, which is how that works. Again, I think some of these organizations, and we're seeing, like we just saw, what did we just see with the Boston Celtics? Right? What did we just see with the Boston Celtics? They signed so many players. They had to get rid of Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis in one summer. Right? Because they had signed too much money they had too much money on their books. They signed too many big contracts. And, you know, teams are realizing, they're like, oh shit. Wait, hold on. We got 3 guys that are making $50 million a year. We actually don't have money. And so we're seeing teams try to make up for it. And that's why some of these trades get really tricky. That's why Zach LaVine was untradeable for a long time, because he was making $40 million a year. And And so, again, right, a team signed a bad contract. You know, in order to get that player, you have to inherit that contract. So it kind of fucks everything up. Like, I get we got to equal contract, but I'd rather overpay for Zubac, Brook Lopez, etc. target players, give them more than what they would get versus paying Booker $70 million a year. Okay, but look at that point, Elijah, right? If you overpay a Zubac or a Brook Lopez, like to you that says, let's look up let's look up a hard example. Right, so let's say Brook Lopez this year, right? He's played 32 games. Let's do last year, 2024, 2025 in Milwaukee. 13 points per game, 5 rebounds a game, 1.9 blocks. Let's say, I don't know, let's say he's worth $15 million a year, right, in the market. 13 points a game, 5 rebounds, 1.8 blocks. Let's just say he's worth $15 million. Let's say you overpay him by 10. Imagine all the players that are going to say, I average 14 and 6. I need to be making 30. And now that just keeps going. Right? Now the player, what's going to happen is you're going to have these players, because you overpaid that one guy that you're like, oh, it's whatever, I'd rather overpay a Brook Lopez. Because you overpaid Brook Lopez, now you just set the market price. Now the price before, which was $15 million for a player that averages 13 and 5 and 1.8 blocks, you just made it $25 million. Now everyone at that threshold or more is going to ask for $25 million or more because of that one signing. And it just keeps going up. And then you're going to have the star player say, whoa, 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 whoa. This guy's averaging 18 and 7, making $40 million. I need $80 million. So, yeah, I don't think even when it comes to, I don't think it works that way. It's hard to work that way and you're not getting your money back, as opposed to playing that star player who you're going to market and essentially use to put people into the stadium. That investment makes a lot more sense than overpaying a role player, if we're being honest. 100% with you on that. It's true. That's why we missed on Fred VanVleet in Houston. Gave it to him. Celtics did it right, though. They geared up when they were at the door and won. I guess they were able to, I guess, but we've seen it not work out also, right? Right, like they lucked out and they were able to make it happen, right? But we've also seen teams do that and it doesn't work out. When you pay a Brook a little over, the rest start knocking on the door, wanting more. You right, Jay? I think Elijah's saying that the league as a whole could be just nah, we ain't paying over this figure. I agree with y'all. In a perfect world, like when you at a car dealership, you walk away, but that's just, you know, you have to fill out a roster, and if you're one of these teams, you need some player to fill up the seats, is what it really comes down to. And unfortunately, some guys get really overpaid. Some guys get really overpaid. Now, speaking of guys with big contracts and a player that might get a really big contract, let's go back to the Lakers. What do you guys think? What is the peak for the LA Lakers? It's funny because offensively, they have so much to offer. They basically embody Luka Doncic, right? Offensively, they have so much to offer, right? Luka is Luka, right? LeBron at this point is probably the best hybrid power forward that we have in the league, right? he can do everything at 40 and at 41 years old. And then Austin Reeves is a goddamn, I don't know if you can call him a microwave. He's a motherfucking air fryer, bro. But again, you have three guys that are liabilities on defense. And the more I think about it, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, pretty much every championship team has at least two defensive players on the floor at any given time. Am I faded? Am I faded for that? Like, even if they're not considered a great defensive team, think about the Lakers back in the day, right? Not considering Kobe being an all-defensive player, because Shaq was not a defensive guy. Derek Fisher, Robert Horry, Rick Fox. Literally three guys that are known, two guys that are really known for defense, and another guy that was also a defensive guy. Right? You think about the Spurs, they always had a Bruce Bowen. They always had a big that was a defensive player. And then you add Tim Duncan. So at any given moment, there's two or three defensive guys on that floor. The Miami Heat with LeBron in them, Birdman and Shane Battier. Right? Dwayne Wade was, not his 100% health to be locking up the way he was, even though he was still good on defense. LeBron was really great on defense at that time, and Chris Bosh was no slouch on defense either. But again, you had three offensive guys, and you had two guys that were there to play defense. I think there's a trend here. Like, you think about even the Bulls, Scottie Pippen in their early run wasn't necessarily Scottie Pippen yet. Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, defense. What happened in the second three-peat when Mike's getting a little bit older? What happens? And Scottie's more offensive, even though he's still really good on defense. What did they do? Ron Harper and Dennis Rodman. There's a trend here, y'all. And I'm not trying to say that Luka doesn't need to play any defense. Right? That's not at all what I'm trying to say. But even the players that were good on defense on these championships teams still had two defenders on the floor with them at any given time. And I don't think that's an accident. I don't think that's an accident. Because it's so consistent when you look at all of these different rosters. Hell, even the Warriors, Klay Thompson, defensive guy. Draymond Green, defensive guy. Andrew Bogut, defensive guy. They did a lot. Harrison Barnes, but who came in for him right away? Andre Iguodala. Because they're trying to hide Steph Curry. And yes, Steph Curry does a great job of being at the right place at the right time and competes. But the team also did their part of surrounding him with guys that could defend. And, realistically, I think that's what the Lakers need to do. If Luka's going to be their guy moving forward, and really any team that wants to compete for a championship, put good defenders around your great offensive player. Look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. It helps. It helps. Trust me. I don't know what JJ on. I expected them to be middle of the pack, and he's like, "We suck." Like, do you need to see your roster? Easy oven. Oh man. What do you guys think? Man? How far up can the LA Lakers go? Do you guys have faith in them? Or is this just a roster issue? Is this just simply a roster issue? Now, Everyone has to man up and guard their yard. Every star that has won has stepped up on defense. I get what you're saying, Elijah. I get what you're saying. But I don't know if you remember, we broke down a couple of really bad misassignments last NBA Finals by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There were some, TJ McConnell blowing by him, Tyrese Halliburton blowing by him. When he was the low man, giving zero resistance to Pascal Siakam. I'm not saying that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Luka Doncic on defense. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is they were able to mitigate some of that by having such great defensive players around him. You have Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, Hartenstein. I mean, literally filled with defensive players. So what ends up happening is because Shai can afford to get beat at times, and that's why he's able to go for these steals, because he can afford to get beat because his team is going to support him. He doesn't look as bad. Unless you look at all of these plays under a microscope, you're able to find moments where some of it is really bad. Now, I'm not saying putting defensive guys would change the Lakers overnight, but with no defense, this team is doing pretty good. And if they just played a little bit of defense, I think they would look a lot better, is all I'm saying. I haven't watched recently, but I don't have faith in Luka Harden's style of basketball. I think JJ could be a really good coach for a long time. I honestly love how he ain't satisfied and demands more from his players. Yeah, Shai fell asleep, but if I'm not mistaken, OKC led the league in deflections, and it was Shai, Cason, and Alex who were contributing to that. Yeah, no, I mean, and this is just for the sake of the argument, but if I'm not mistaken, Luka Doncic is somewhere in the top of the league in steals every season. Am I faded for that? 1.6, 1.8, 1.62 a game in 2024, 2025. 1.4, 1.4, 1.2, 1.1. So again, if you have a really good defense around you, it can make you look good. They made him look good in that series against the Clippers. I don't know if you guys remember. If you guys remember that against the Los Angeles Clippers, the Dallas Mavericks against the Los Angeles Clippers. They made him look good to the point where ESPN and all these other broadcasts were talking about, look at Luka on defense. Look at Luka on defense. He didn't do nothing on defense. All they did was put defensive players around him and load it up against the offensive players because they knew that the Clippers were going to isolate against Luka. And again, I'm not saying Luka did some unbelievable shit on defense, but they were able to help him out. And in that season, with that team where they had defensive players around him, they made it to the NBA Finals is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's fair. Steals don't necessarily mean good defense, though. Prime Harden was getting steals, but he wasn't a good defender. That's kind of what I'm saying, Eli. Like Shai gets a lot of steals, and I'm not saying he's a bad defensive player, but he can sleep on defense at times. Like, don't let the steal stats and all of the MVP stuff fool you. I've seen him fall asleep, and that's the MVP of the NBA. I'm just saying. And we've seen Jokic at times be really bad on defense also. Also MVP and is gets a lot of credit for how good he is in the league. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing it out. But I get it doesn't automatically mean good defender, but getting up and end defenders is different than what we see Luka does, is my point. And listen, I'm not saying Luka's a good defender. I'm not saying he's a good defender. I think the team can do a better job is really what I'm saying. Because realistically, right? Realistically, if you have people around him that can play defense, right, and are able to kind of clean up some of the mess, it makes it a little bit easier, in my opinion, in the coaching room and as a player, as a teammate, when he doesn't run out on a contest. When he's the guy that has to rotate over and he doesn't, it makes it easier when everyone in the room knows that there's players that are going 110 out of their way to defend for this guy. Right? And again, I don't think he's going to become some great defensive player, but I think it just makes it easier. You can game plan a little bit easier. Right now, they have 3 guys that are a liability on defense. And again, like I said, with that being said, they're 5th in the NBA at 24-14. I like your shape point. The team could build around it well, where what he does contribute is much more prevalent than what he doesn't do. Yeah, again, there aren't many examples where your best players whose guards are also like your best defenders. I'm like thinking about it right now. Like Tony Parker, when he was the MVP on that Spurs team, wasn't no defensive player. Steph Curry, not no defensive player. Kobe and Michael Jordan are anomalies, where they're the best players in the league, offensive juggernauts, but also, one of the, if not the best defensive player on the floor. Like that's very rare. Them two, Tim Duncan, as a big, I think it's probably a little bit more common. But when you're a guard, it's not common if we're just being honest. Think about even the Isaiah Thomas, the bad boy Pistons. Yes, Isaiah Thomas was a scrappy fuck that was, physical, getting into people. But what did they, even the guy that's a defensive player, what did they do? Surround him with defenders. Right, Larry Bird, not a guard, wing, a scoring guy. Larry Bird wasn't no defender. People were getting by Larry Bird. He wasn't the quickest. What did they do? Put defensive players around him. We could go on and on. I'm being serious. Like, we could go on and on and on, right? There is a point where roles have to be clear and distinguished, right? And I think that's just a part of the team. I was watching Gil's Arena, and I don't like what he said, because he said the GM went to Gilbert Arenas, said the GM went to him and said, he handles the offense, y'all handle the defense. I think that's wrong, right? I want to say first and foremost, that's wrong, because it didn't need to be said. The defensive players understand that they're defending because there's a lack of it. And as the star, it's just the effort and to make it look like you give a fuck. Right? Because realistically, they can't do what you do as a star player. If you're Luka, they can't put up triple doubles like you. You can't defend like them. And so there are roles. Now, again, I think that's the wrong way of thinking, in the sense of you don't got to do anything on offense, but defensive players know, right? That's kind of the point. But we'll see what happens with the Lakers. I think their offseason is going to be really big, especially if LeBron does end up retiring. But yeah, man. Really quick before I get out of here. I will not be here on Friday. We're going to be away this weekend. driving out tomorrow, so we'll be away for the weekend. I'll be back by Monday. So no show on Friday. I'll be back Monday. So thank you guys, man. I appreciate y'all as always for coming and hanging out with me. Elijah, you're the GOAT. Eli, you're the GOAT. Y'all the best, man. I really appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much. Before I get out of here, please leave what's the question? Oh yeah, do the question before we get up out of here. Yeah. Hit me. What's the question? I'm also trying to hit the question. I'm also trying to figure out what sneakers to bring, bro. Y'all should help me figure out what sneakers to bring. Nah, hit me with the question. What do I bring, bro? What do I bring? I kind of want to rock these. I also kind of want to rock these. I don't know, man. Here, let me take a look. I think I saw he sent it. Let me see. This pair, you think? I haven't decided yet. But this is a pretty good shout. I don't know. We'll see. I've been fucking with these a lot though. They don't get a lot of love online, but I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. Here, let me see. Team 1. Pair 2. I got a couple more in the back. Any of these? I got the ones over there. I got some 4s. I don't know. Here, let me see this squad really quick. Steph, D Rose, Russ, MJ, Kobe. Who the fuck let somebody get MJ and Kobe? Kawhi, Melo, Paul George, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, AD, Shaq, Kareem. What the fuck is this? Jason Kidd, Tony Parker, Kyle Lowry, Ray Allen, Clyde Drexler, Paul Pierce, LeBron, KD, Scotty, Dirk, Giannis, Ben, Dwight, Hakeem, Jokic. Yo, why is this even a question? Are y'all on Mars? Yo, what the, like, this ain't even fair. What the fuck? Nah, this Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is crazy. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Who's team 1? Who's team 2? Who's team 1? Who's team 1? Who's team 1? I gotta know. Who got Steph? Who team starting is Steph, MJ, Kawhi, Timmy, and Shaq? Who got that team? Who got that team, bro? Who the fuck chose Jason Kidd, Ray Allen, LeBron, Dirk, and Dwight? Yo, I love Jason Kidd. I love Ray Allen. No comment on Bron. Love Dirk. I don't know if we should say that we love Dwight Howard, but he had a run. That team is getting fucking fried. Wait, hold on. Y'all did a draft? You guys did a draft? And you let him get MJ and Kobe? How you let him get MJ and Kobe? We pick all three at once. Eli got point guards, shooting guards, and we split centers. Now y'all gotta run that back. I don't know what type of rule set y'all got. Yeah, y'all gotta redo y'all teams. Go on 2K and play it. I don't know what y'all doing over there. Hey, you let him get Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett? I don't care. My squad proving everyone wrong, dog. I got PG as shooting guard. He got small forward and power forward. Wait, he chose first power forwards? And he came up with Dirk, Giannis, and Benoit. Oh my God. Yo, you say some really smart things sometimes, Elijah, and then you say some faded shit like that. Yo, the best you coming up with is Ray Allen, Clyde Drexler, and Paul Pierce. Yo. Hey, you chose the first three. Hey, my team would have been rounded out too at the power forward. My ass would have chose Tim Duncan, Dirk, and Kevin Garnett. Got me fucked up. Yo, what? And you not picking your boy Kawhi is egregious at that. You not picking your boy Kawhi is egregious. That's egregious. That's egregious, bro. I was trying to I didn't know this was laugh at Elijah hour. Well, it's been motherfucking laugh at Jason hour ever since I started the show. I think it's kind of cool to have it on somebody else. Y'all split the centers. I mean, I don't mind your centers, honestly. Shaq, Hakeem, yo, but you let him get Shaq and Kareem. you just let him get Shaq and Kareem. You couldn't take one of them off of him. Nah, y'all gotta do like a y'all gotta do something else with that. That was y'all bugging for that. Oh my God. But hey man, that's gonna do it for me for now. Hey, it's 4-0. It's 4-0. Eli's team, Elijah. Y'all getting swept. Y'all getting swept. I'm sorry. Yo, you have no break. After MJ come out, Kobe come in. After Shaq come out, Kareem come in. After Timmy come out, KG come in. You're cooked, bro. And you let him get Steph, you are on Mars. All right, man. I would have cheated. I would have put like Magic at power forward, some shit. Yeah, we doing 2K. I'm locking in my face gun inches away the whole series. Thank you for looking at JF shutting his ass up. I gotta put on now. All right, let me know how that goes, man. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll see y'all back here on Monday. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me, and I appreciate you for that. So thank you so much. I'll see y'all later, man. Please leave a like on this bitch. Peace.